Hello, fantastic to see you, particularly you. I wasn't really very willing to start this until you were here. Anyway, let's get on. My name's Simon Jacobs, and you have joined me for episode 56 of Adventures in Pop. And today we're going to have a little short, very cursory history lesson about England, about Britain, because I'm going to talk about a song that I've written, which is probably going to be the first track on the next album. We talked a little bit about that last time round, and it is called Everybody Here is From Somewhere Else. So how exciting is this? I did set this up last time round by saying, I wanted to talk about some of the songs I have more recently written, even if they're not going to be coming out as singles, tomorrow. Because, basically there's all this stuff that I'm quite keen to talk about, and I keep putting it off because it's not the right time, as if that really makes a difference. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the song, I'm going to talk about where it came from, why I wrote it, play a bit of it, and that'll be it. That'll be a lovely episode. So thank you for being here, and do subscribe if you're enjoying the Adventures in Pop series. And if you're not, I'm sorry about that. Okay, this is a song I wrote about a year ago, I think. I'm not quite sure what exact event sparked it, but I think this is something that I think I've pondered over for years. And this is about the kind of lack of logic that is used in your average, kind of nationalist, racist argument about, the of being part of us, one of whoever it is we're identifying with. So if I'm talking from the point of view of an English person who lives in England, then sometimes we can get a little bit defensive about us English. I think there is this kind of view that if you're kind of white and working class or middle class, actually, and you've been here for years and years and years, and you're obviously not from somewhere else, then you're English, and that means you're pure in some way. And I've always thought this is complete nonsense, because if you look back not very far at the kind of the conquests of this country over a few centuries, you see that basically, as I'm saying in the song, everybody, and I mean everybody is probably from somewhere else, or if they did a DNA test, would find that they're partly Celtic, partly Anglo-Saxon, partly from Cornwall, and partly from Spain. It can be that bizarre sometimes, because sometimes the different groups of people land in more than one country and spread themselves across, what we now would regard as rather odd parts of adjoining countries. So really what I'm trying to do in this song is completely undermine the case for those kind of, Little Englander racists to be able to say at any stage, well, there's no room here, or, this is ours, or we belong here more than you do, because it just depends at what point in history you draw that line about, who was here and who was here before those people were here, and where did they come from? Because, almost nobody actually started here. So the whole idea of, a pure English race or a pure English group of people is a bit nonsensical. And wouldn't it be wonderful if, this is very naughty really, I'm just being very cheeky, but what if everybody suddenly had to do a DNA test? I mean, what would we find? It would be just fascinating. And I just think all of that kind of narrow-minded, othering of other people would suddenly be removed because you'd be thinking, yes, but I'm the same, and that would be a rather wonderful thing. That'd be a wonderful day when we all decide to do our DNA tests together. So, just to put a little bit more kind of fact onto the meagre bones I've so far given you, I did look this up, and I think we all kind of know some of this, maybe not all of it, but okay. So I wanted to know, which who lived in England before before the 20th or 19th century. Where did they come from? And I guess what this comes down to is which countries and which groups of people invaded this country over the years. And boy, there's quite a lot of people invaded. So we know about the Romans. We know probably about the Anglo-Saxons that were in, God, when were they? A long time ago, the Anglo-Saxons. We got invaded by Celts. We got invaded by Vikings. Right, Anglo-Saxons mostly from Germany, Denmark, Germany. Vikings, Scandinavia, Denmark again. I don't the Danes. Celts from Ireland and Scotland, I think, mostly. But again, it depends at what point in time you're looking at that. The Normans, 1066, we know about that, don't we? So the French invaded us. The Dutch have invaded us. So that's a lot of people. And obviously, every time there's an invasion, those peoples who come over here invade, and some of them might go home, but a lot of them stay. They, intermingle with the local indigenous people, whoever's here, basically at that time. I don't know what the exact definition of indigenous would be in that kind of situation. And of course, they reproduce and have children and stuff. I hope that we can say that on this program. Yeah. So we all become a bit of a mix. And then, of course, in the 20th century, not invasions, but more about people fleeing from war zones, being thrown out of other countries, migrating over here or being invited here by us. Let's not get too bogged down in that, and then treated very badly. So a lot of different people have come here through different means, but it started with lots and lots of invasions over hundreds of years. It speeded up, I guess, in the 20th century with the ease of kind of social, mobility and people moving or being thrown out of countries and needing desperately a place to go. And obviously we are very aware right now of the crisis of, millions of people being displaced from Ukraine. But Ukraine is not the first, and it will not be the last, sadly. And we know that, people are going to get thrown out of countries either because of climate change reasons or because of war reasons, and it will carry on. Hopefully it won't be so much of the invading in future. Try telling that to Russia. Okay, so how does that relate to the song? Well, the song is called Everybody Here Is From Somewhere Else. It might be the first song that I put out that might have some bits and brackets. Everybody Here Is From Somewhere Else. If I'm allowed to do the brackets when I'm doing the title, it can get a little bit complicated. There's some rules about what you're allowed to put on the title of your song and what you're not. And they do relax a little bit over time, but you've got to be careful. So Everybody Here Is From Somewhere Else. I'll give you just a few of the lines, just so you've got the kind of, the angle I'm coming from here. And what I wanted, and why I'm saying to you, it's probably the first track on the next album. What I wanted is to be able to start the next album with, I don't know, a bit of a bang, a bit of a energetic statement. And this is one of the songs I quite like writing songs like these because it's a little bit political. It still has to have a good tune, good chorus, and all the rest of it. But hopefully, there's just enough in there that might get people just to think, oh, that's quite interesting, or to think, oh, how does that relate to me? And all of that is good. So the words I've got here, everybody here is from somewhere else. Nobody's really from here. So stop telling those lies and stop spreading that fear. Everybody here is from somewhere else. It just depends where you draw the line, because everybody's travelled here from somewhere. It's just a matter of time. And my lovely chorus goes, everybody is related to someone, and someone is related to you, and we're just a little island floating in an ocean of blue. A very little island, actually, at the moment. And if you don't believe me, go test your DNA, because everybody here is from somewhere else, and everybody took a detour along the way. There we go. Very profound, isn't it? And everyone is related to someone. Now, to start this off, I have to tell you, this was one of those moments when, leafing through my catalogue of really good samples, I fell upon this sample, and I think probably I might have heard it. I might have even heard it half a time, and I was thinking, right, I have to use that. It's a really characterful sample, and it's not a sample that you can hide in the background of your song and do some nice stuff over it. It kind of grabs the song. It shapes the song completely. So I can make no apologies for having picked up the sample, thought, oh blimey, that's just brilliant, and immediately started thinking, how do I put words to this? How do I fit this into a song? So I think the first thing I should do is just play you the sample. It's quite unusually powerful, isn't it? So that's a sample. We did this a little bit last time, but we're going to play the sample. So now, having played the sample, what I want to do is just give you the opening of the track in its kind of almost full production as it is now, and you can see how the sample then, shaped that beginning of the song, and boy, it does. It really shapes the beginning of the song. So here we go. A couple of other things to say. One is, I think we should just have a little listen to a bit of chorus, because the chorus, obviously my challenge for the chorus is to come out of that sample and keep the same spirit going. It had to be something quite, up and dynamic. Otherwise, you'd just be falling away, snoozing, waiting for that sample to come back again. So the chorus, which is the everybody's related to someone and somebody is related to you, goes like this.
And everyone's related to someone. Someone is related to you. But we're just a little island floating in an ocean of blue.
And I guess it's worth also just saying, some keen followers of Adventures in Pop might know. I don't often talk about this, but might know that a few years ago, when I was just starting all of this, I bought an electric guitar for the very first time in my life, and I've never learned the guitar, and I've never had lessons. But gradually, I'm using the guitar more and more on my tracks. I think you'll notice this actually on album 5, whenever that starts to see the light of day. I think it's two things. One is you will notice just more guitar generally, because I think there is, and I'm quite enjoying trying to create a meatier, heavier sound. It's not always me playing the guitar though, so sometimes I'm using a sample and or even playing the Logic MIDI guitars, some of which are okay, not all of them. But more and more I am trying to play my guitar, and the best way to describe what I do is I basically learn for a song when I'm thinking, oh, that a guitar could go in there. I learn it quite carefully. I practice just that little bit over and over and over, so that when I'm recording, it's not going to take all afternoon just to do a line. So I've got to be honest to say my guitar playing is rudimentary, but I'm beginning to be able to unlock some really nice sounds and textures with the guitar, and I really like it. And I guess the more I do it, better I get. I think it's still pretty. I'm in the beginner's playground still, but it's a fun thing to do. And on this track, on Everybody Here Is From Somewhere Else, the guitar does come through, and I think you hear it most of all in the chorus. And yeah, I'm enjoying using it more and more. You will hear that. I think it's one of the textures of album 5. A bit more of that good guitar sound, which I do really like. Okay, anything else to say about this? I guess there's just a little hint of Brexit again in here, because I'm talking about us being a very small island floating in an ocean. It's like we've come apart from everything else, and that is post Brexit is sometimes how it feels. I'm sure not everybody will agree with me on that. So if you don't agree with me, forgive me. I'm probably not going to change my mind. I have always thought Brexit's a complete disaster, and I still do. I think in fact it's probably worse than I thought. But let's not go there, because otherwise I'll just be sobbing, and it's not nice. So I'm going to say that's it for today. I'm going to leave you with a slightly more extended chunk of this track. Everybody Hears From Somewhere Else. As I say, it will certainly be on the album. It'll probably be the first track on the album, because it's a damn good way to start. And in a few days' time, as we get close to the end of the week, I will be back to preview with you the first Goldhawk Foxes single, called Don't Take Much. So listen, have a good week. You take care. Be good. Bye-bye.